You know, so we good? We are live.
All right, we're good.
We're gonna kick off the, what is this? This is the third jam session for DuPage, obviously in honor of Women's History Month. So thank you for the participants. I just want to say it's been an honor. It's been fun. March has been crazy already. I feel like we haven't really had a lull. I mean, usually there's a lull in the market December, January, and allegedly it picks up after Super Bowl, but I've felt it's been pretty slow and steady. So we're excited. Post St. Patrick's Day, I figured this was a pretty appropriate shirt this whole week. I will just be fully transparent. I have not washed it, and I've worn this shirt. What are we, Thursday? I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. But it's on Zoom, so you guys can't smell me. So it's all good. Well, we're very excited. We have a great cast, as we always do. So we've been through a lot. I think Tuesday was the 1-year anniversary of the stay-at-home order. So God willing, we will have an in-person event later this year. I'm not even going to say that out loud, because do you guys remember those back a year ago, and you'd start talking to people, oh yeah, COVID, let's reschedule for April 5th. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, 2 weeks, and then here we are, 67-ish days later. So I'm gonna literally set the table, have the realtors introduce themselves, have the partners introduce themselves, and get out of the way, because let's be frank, you guys aren't here to hear me blab. So that being said, agents, why don't you kick us off? Beata, go ahead, go first. Introduce yourself, just name, brokerage, how long you've been in real estate for.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Beata Kolpek, and I'm with Platinum Partners Realtors in Downers Grove. I have been a real estate agent for over 28 years, and got my start back in the day when my children were very young. I had a 5-year-old and 2 3-year-olds, so it was quite fun. And here I am, still here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sara Kolpek, and Beata Kolpek is actually my mother. We're a mother-daughter real estate team with Platinum Partners Realtors out of Downers Grove, and I joined my mom 3.5 years ago, and it's been fun.
Go ahead, Sheena.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sheena Baker. I am a realtor with Caremark Realty Group. The main headquarters is in West Chicago. I have a satellite office with my team in downtown Aurora. I've been a realtor for 14 years.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm Elizabeth Burke. I am with Berkshire Hathaway in Hinsdale, and I have been a real estate agent for about 7 years now.
Awesome. Super simple. I love it. So people love the publication. People like what we do. I'm very proud of the fact that we're a very pure, like non-pay to play platform, not just magazine, but platform for realtors. It's catered to the top 500 agents based on production. I mean, we do it based on merit and work ethic. But I mean, I literally cannot do what I do without our partners. I mean, people who know my personality and have known me for a while. I know Leanne, we've known each other for, I don't know, 9-10 years or so. She knows I have a pretty dry sense of humor, but I mean, literally, this is the 1% of my week where I'm dead serious. Like, I cannot do what I do without our partners. I'm essentially unemployed. It's kind of like realtors are unemployed without great clients. If you have nobody to sell houses to and work with, you got to find something else to do. I like the partners have put their trust in me. I don't know why, but thank you. So I'll just throw that out there. To run the show and just connect people in creative ways. So Margaret, Tracy, Leanne, you guys know from the bottom of my heart, I can't do what I do without you. So thank you so much. So I'm going to give the partners a few seconds to introduce themselves, and then I'm going to get out of the way. So Leanne, you were the first one on. Why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, thanks, Andy. Good morning, everybody. Leanne Luckett here from HWA Home Warranty of America. I've actually been the top producer and industry leader here in the Chicago market for 21 years now. So thanks for the real estate agents for your loyalty and support. Really appreciate you and the opportunity to help your clients. Thank you.
You're muted.
Oops, sorry. I knew I was going to
It
do
happens.
that.
It happens.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Margaret with Chicagoland Home Staging. I have been one of the owners, there's two of us, of Chicagoland Home Staging for the last 16 years. And we're a woman-owned business, so we really enjoy working with the real estate community. We're a team of 14, and we love partnering up with everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Tracy Rasmussen. My company is BlueStone Advisors. We are an independent insurance broker servicing individuals, families, and small businesses. We're headquartered in Lombard, started the company in 2012. And yeah, love to partner with the real estate community on the personal lines side.
I love it. Well, that all being said, well, let's start jamming and talking shop. That's one thing I love about these is, a session in the middle of March is going to look way different than one in September. And so it's always just up-to-date knowledge, and it's just great to kind of, lean on one another for insights. So when we were pre-gaming, back when that was a thing, I just got an image in my head with tailgating. Maybe I should have used a different word, but that's what we're going to go with. Beata, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Oh, okay. Well, it'll just be a small kickoff here, seeing that you kind of started us off with women in real estate, just that, women have been, a dominant force as realtors for a long time, for, at least 100 years. And we rock the residential real estate market, don't we, ladies? Yeah, and that's because we're wired differently from men. We handle residential sales differently than how commercial is handled. And so I think women and females in the residential segment are doing very, very well. And I think that's quite evident in what we do every day. So I think, the market is doing very well. Is it not, ladies?
It's doing amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
really, if I just sort of butt in here, I would love to hear what you ladies have to say about the market, because I'm just going crazy listening to everybody's stories and how crazy it is and how houses are selling so fast. So, planning ahead, of course, I want to know what's going to happen for 2021. So I would love to hear what you guys think.
I think we all want to know what's going to happen.
Well, just like we tell our clients, if we all had that crystal ball, right, we would be stinking rich, all of us.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
the facts are the numbers. So it depends on the market that you serve. But for example, I was showing clients in Montgomery, Illinois, and in that area, when we ran numbers, it was down by like 70% in inventory, like 67, 70%. So compared to last year, the same time. So the inventory is super low. Interest rates, of course, everybody know they went down this past year, and that caused everybody want to sell their house, buy a new house, or buy a house for the first time. And it's caused a frenzy, and there's not enough inventory for the amount of buyers that are in this marketplace. So I don't know about you, but I feel like a race car driver lately, because as soon as something pops up, my buyers want to see it. I have a backlog of buyers right now that are fully underwritten and looking for homes, and they continue to get outbid because they're cash buyers. They're, people that are putting down a ton of money, and it's very, very hard to stay competitive in this current market. And so we're doing everything that we can. And I think when I was on the panel for Black History Month, we were talking about FHA buyers versus conventional buyers. And that's very tough right now for the FHA buyers. If you're putting 3.5% down, or even if you're conventional 3% or 5%, and you're competing with 20% down or conventional. So it's very, very tough right now for the buyers. But the sellers, they're loving this market. But if they have to move somewhere after they sell, they're, struggling.
Predicament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of feeding off of what you're saying, Sheena. with interest rates so low last year, so many people refinanced their houses if they were planning on staying. So these people who are now locked in at what, 2.75, 3, under 3 somewhere, these people have no motivation to sell. And I was also watching a meeting before, and it was saying that construction has been down for quite some time. Going back to pre-2008, builders were building, and all of a sudden construction is down. I think last year with COVID, Beata and I, we work with a builder, and he's not really doing anything right now because he's saying with COVID, construction costs are going up, because if all these materials are coming from overseas, they're nervous about taking on the liability. So building, or if new construction's down, I know that we've got Pulte in the area, we've got all these builders, but overall it's way down, and it's helping drive down inventory.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I work with a builder in Oswego, and we have 6 lots. And last year was the first time he started to build on the lot. So we had, and it's no model, right? So we had 6 lots, no model. Last year I struggled, because when we had the meeting, when I was introduced to him, I'm like, how are we going to sell these lots without a model, right? And so all the agents that would call me, like, there's no model, Sheena. And I'm like, there isn't. So we built the one. That buyer moved in last year, and we have indoor drone, all this kind of stuff. This year, all 5 of the other lots sold like that. They didn't care that there was no model, because there is no inventory. Right. So that gives you an idea of like my struggle last year. I'm trying to convince people like, this is a great house, and you should, move here, whatever. And now everyone's like, I don't care what it looks like. I just need a house. So
and to have new construction too. Everybody loves new construction.
Yep.
It's so interesting, Sheena, because my parents are contractors. And so we, keep an inventory of properties that then, if they're not going to be custom builds, we're not going to do a spec since 2008 happened. So we've been renting them out, and now we're in the process. Well, my parents are. They're, as the leases are coming up, they're not going to release, because everybody wants, to be able to have the opportunity to tear that down. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing, but almost every house that I've shown in the last 2 weeks has had tenants in it, because any house that hasn't sold before is now taking that opportunity.
Yep, that is so true. I just sold one a couple weeks ago, a listing of mine. The tenant is in there until August. So it was a cash buyer bought it.
Wow.
And they're going to move in, but they it's no inventory. So, right. So you're like, sure, I'll, buy it, and I'll wait until August to move in. Like, that gives you an idea, if you're not in the real estate community, or you don't understand, like, this is what's really happening out here. And I don't think, unless you're a realtor and your boots on the ground, you don't understand how hard we are working right now. Like, not that we have not worked hard before, but even harder to get the buyers that we have, if you have buyers, into these properties.
That's such a great point, Sheena and Sarah. I never thought about the refi and sellers not having any incentive to move out. I mean, I'm hearing so much frustration that it's not just about the low inventory, but the sellers don't know where they're going. And even rentals now, they don't even have an opportunity, because I've heard that the rentals are down as well too. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'd love to hear how you're winning those contracts for your buyers, particularly when you have a cash buyer versus somebody who's a, VA, and, just how you're putting that confidence and peace of mind to these sellers, that now still is a good time to sell, but hey, where are you going to move to? Right.
I think a lot of what Beata and I are looking for are sellers who are wanting to leave the state, because then they don't have anything that they need to purchase. If they're moving to Florida, we were just talking to somebody whose clients moved to South Dakota. It's like, those are the people that we need to be targeting.
Still, people need to come on the market. So in order to, rejuvenate the whole market, you need new listings. So really, there is a process that you probably have to go through to convince people that now's a good time to come on. So is there something that you guys are doing that's different or special that you might maybe not were doing last year that you're doing this year, that's telling the people that have talked about it in the past or your clients that now's a good time to come on?
Last year, what I was doing with the listings that I had, I would tell them, say if your interest rate is 4%, and last year the interest rates were like 2.25 or 2.5 or whatever, so they could buy up. So if they wanted a larger home, and then they had a lower interest rate, sometimes they were paying out where they were paying close to the same in mortgage, and so they would get to buy a larger home for their family, and that was
If they can find one.
Yeah. Well, last year was a little bit better than right now. This is crazy. So, people love that last year because everyone's working from home. The kids are homeschooled, so a lot of sellers did need more space, right? So that was helping last year. Right now, it's very hard because if you do have to move somewhere else, that's the seller's concern. How do they find a house, and then they compete? And if you have a contingency of a house to close or house to sell, you're kind of like wiped off the right now. So very hard. And then another reason why I think the inventory is also low is those that are still in forbearance. So if you're in forbearance and you're not having to pay your mortgage, what is your incentive to move? So you're not paying your mortgage right now, right? So I think it's the combination of things that are happening in this market.
Interesting.
Are you guys seeing your buyers get into bidding wars and the price of the real estate just goes crazy?
Every single offer, like I wrote 4 offers last weekend. All 4 clients didn't get it, and they were outbid. Like one bid 20 grand over, someone bid 30,000 over, so they lost it, right? And then what I'm hearing from the listing agents on for those buyers, like, okay, what happened? They bid 20 grand over. They're conventional. What happened? Well, Sheena, this person waived their whole home inspection, or this person bid 30,000 over with a guarantee that if it doesn't appraise, they're going to pay the difference out of pocket. So it's very hard to compete with that.
What about the letters? Are you guys like getting this is a little new to me, seeing when someone's putting an offer in, they put in a letter, like they're selling their family, their whole lifestyle, and how they're
that's a whole new discussion now, because it's been brought to our attention now, because that's always been very popular, to kind of touch on their emotion, the seller's emotion, that it's like, oh, we love your house, we plan to raise our family here, here's our picture. Well, now, because, it's all about fair housing. So now you're sharing, your situation with the seller, and the thought process is that potentially your selling client may be making a decision on who to choose, and it could be a fair housing concern. Right. So now they're saying, be careful with these letters, or don't. And I've seen listings where it specifically says, do not send us a letter, do not give us a letter, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your opinion on, so I don't have my sellers do that, because I think that, my buyers. It actually makes the process more difficult for them, because then they get emotionally invested, and if they lose out, it's just that much harder. So what I do is I create a very black and white cover letter, where I can say, here's an introduction of them, here's 3 things that they liked about the house, and here's the black and white of our offer. So it kind of gives some sort of introduction of here's who we are, but I try not to involve the buyers in it, because I think
that's what we do. And that email, that email intro with the offer, that is quite helpful, right, Sarah?
Absolutely. And I feel as though if you have anything to tie in as far as lender, hey, I know this lender, I've got a great reputation, I could contact them on a Sunday evening. That's a huge selling point that doesn't involve your buyer, and possibly touching on the attorney. If your buyer client knows which attorney you're going to be using.
If you have good relationships with these people, it kind of helps that
you've got
they're not going to kill your deal.
Well, we've all seen it where clients have used lenders where they get the pre-approval online and the phone number on the pre-approval letter, you can't get a hold of that person at all, which can be scary.
So for my buyers, all of them are completely underwritten. So instead of a pre-approval, they're underwritten before we even go out to see properties right now. So it takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks for that whole process, but it's at least try to give them a leg up in this market. And then I have my lender, when I do submit an offer, she'll respond and, reply with everything that they've done with the underwriting process, or she'll call. So that does, help some, but you can't be cash, or you can't be someone that's telling the seller that they're going to give them 30 grand out of pocket, so it's kind of, even if you're underwritten, it's hard to compete with that.
Have you seen that help you or your clients?
Oh yeah. Over my career, yeah. So the last 4 years is what I've done with the underwriting. So like in general. So COVID has helped some because, they know, especially with the essential workers, or, a lot of the sellers that were taking offers were nervous. Like, if they're going to take my client's offer, if they're going to lose their job or anything like that. So the being fully underwritten helped in that regard. But prior to COVID, it helped it just in general. You're like, if you're competing, if I have a pre-approval or a underwritten loan, which one am I going to take? So that does help a ton. Yeah.
It's interesting from the warranty perspective and what we've been experiencing over the last year. And, typically in a seller's market, again, you're looking at trying to take as many contingencies away. And typically the home inspection, the home warranty, we're the first ones out of the mix. So, and it's ironic between COVID and the way the market is. I actually had my best year ever last year. And I think one of the things that I'm finding a lot of real estate agents doing is making that offer clean, taking the contingencies away, go under contract. And then once you get through attorney review and the inspection comes in indicating units are, they're old, they've met their useful life, I feel like that's when the list or the buying agents are now, reintroducing the concept of the warranty, which I think has been very successful to give those buyers, more confidence, more peace of mind in the transaction.
Good to offer the warranties with the listing, and then that way, you don't have to have those, you don't always have to have those discussions later if you just offer it up front.
True, but right now the sellers know they don't have to, so they don't offer anything, right? Right now they don't have to do anything because it's so competitive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about this private network. I really want to hear about the private network. I mean, I see a lot of it. It affects us a little bit in the home staging, kind of like this has affected you a little bit, Leanne, with the home warranty. But we still find that people understand photos. They understand how people are marketing nowadays. They understand that their first showing is online. So I've actually found it easier to get people to prepare their homes and do more than any other year. So they're more open to it. But, so it has changed a little bit for us. And I'm sure just like everybody here, you pivot and you change and you move. But I'm curious what you guys think about the private network, because I see that people are using it different. I feel like the brokerages out there are just, telling everybody, hey, private network, go on there, test the market, test your price, don't do anything yet, just throw it out there and see what happens. And then, wait a week to come live. And what do you guys think?
So I always loved the private listed network until this year. So
like it is.
Yeah. So, and it was one of the things that would, win clients over, because I'm trying to find you properties before it hits the market. And that was a benefit. Right now, so many companies have now told the realtors to check it, which has been around, I don't know, 2 years now. It's
longer than that.
Yeah, I think longer than that too.
It hasn't been around super long at all, not decades.
I started 3.5 years ago, and I remember the introduction of the PL.
Okay, so maybe 3 years. So yeah, so it's not been around for a long, long time, but it was so many agents not using it. So, and not searching for it. But now everybody is desperate. So, right. So if I go into the private listed network and I will see a listing and I say, hey, Beata, can I show your listing? Would your seller allow me to show it before it goes live? She might say yes, and then we can, go under contract. Right now, when I'm calling the agents, there are 50 other agents calling them. So now they're no longer allowing, a lot of agents are no longer allowing you to show those private listing network listings before it goes live because it's too many people calling. So it would be like a one-off situation, whereas now it's so many calls that they're like, nope, wait until it's live. So that's what I'm experiencing. And sometimes right now you still can get in, but a lot of times when I'm calling, they're saying, nope, no showings until it goes live.
Isn't it to
and
the,
that's the purpose of, like, when you list it. I mean, we've always been told if it says no in there, you're supposed to mean it. You can't pick and choose who you're going to show the house to.
Correct.
So if you say no, that's got to be no. That's what we've been telling our clients. If you say yes, then, that changes everything. Now, they're going to be changing the whole private listing network to make it way easier for us. Because right now we have to set up separate searches for these clients to make it easier to find the PLN listings. Well, now what they're going to be doing is they're going to integrate where we can include the PLN listings in with our regular search for our clients. So
the benefit is going to be that it's going to be easier for us to share with our buyers.
So they'll be we can email those listings just like we do our regular ones, but they still won't go onto the public sites. But it's going to make it way easier for us, so we don't have to set up separate searches.
Do any of you guys use Zen List yet?
Not yet.
I found that to be really helpful because it sends all of my clients the private listings as well. So I think almost everything that I've been showing lately is on the private network. I'm not coming across the same issues as you have, Sheena, where people have been saying no, gratefully. But almost everything I'm showing, like, it hits the private network and then it's gone within a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't remember the Zen List. I believe that real estate companies have to approve it. So their PLN listings are part of the Zen List. Beata, am I correct on that? I think there's some stipulation with the Zen List.
I don't know.
I believe it works they get all of the information from the MLS. So you'll get all the private listings, but your company needs to kind of like sign on with Zen List, I think, in order to use it.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I'm curious, as a non-real estate agent, if you're putting something in the private network, but they're not allowing any showings, like, what's the benefit? Why would you even do that?
To build up demand, to show
it's
10
like coming
that this house is coming soon, and then when it does hit the active or public market, you've got 10 people who are really waiting to get in there to view the home. So you've got a whole bunch of interest quickly.
So they changed it, Leanne, where you cannot publicize or pre-market coming soon without it being in the private listing network. So if you just put a coming soon sign in the yard, it should be in the private listing network. So you can't do any pre-marketing without it being there.
Thank you. That makes sense.
So, Margaret, I was thinking of one thing that you said, about the PLN listings, that, people aren't doing anything and then just kind of throwing them out there. And I don't know if that's the majority of the listings. I truly think it's like listings where people are still working on them. They're not quite ready for one reason or another. They're still maybe painting, or they're still, prepping or staging or, decluttering. Oh my gosh. So what people accumulate in these houses, I don't know. I think people need to move way more often than they do. So I don't think it's like, oh, let's just throw it out there and see what happens. I truly believe in the majority of the times that it's, there's a reason for it. What's most frustrating to me is when agents put these PLN listings out there with literally no information. There's no picture. You don't know if it's 2 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 1 bath, 3 baths. I mean, there is literally nothing in there. So you either have to call, you have to drive by it or something. Now that to me is a real disservice.
It is.
And that's a terrible, don't you think, Sheena?
Yes.
And it's like, really, you can't do anything more than just put a one-liner in there?
Yep. In hours when I'm looking in the PLN because you
Uh-huh.
go into Remind, or I use Remind to like reverse search, or Google. So I'll see if I can find, if it's not in the MLS as a past listing, I try to like Google a street view or look it up in Remind, see like how many bedrooms, baths, taxes, like all of that is not so people will say, oh, can you just, you know, find me something in the it's not that simple. So if there's no consistency, or a lot of the fields are not required, so they can put nothing and you're just going, you know, backwards. And then if some of the agents you call, they don't answer. So you do have to do your own research. Right. But Tracy, for you in the insurance world, has anything changed with over the last year?
I mean, rates are definitely on the rise. I think the carriers are, and it's not so much about COVID, it's more about just all of the hurricanes and the floods and like what happened in Texas. They have had a lot of claims because of all the weather related incidents. So I'm seeing homeowner rates go up. The auto rates have stayed relatively level because people haven't been driving as much. But my big thing is explaining to my clients the difference between the market value of their home and the replacement value of their home, because most carriers want to insure a home for the replacement value. And right now, there's a big difference between those two numbers. So that's my thing. I don't know if you guys talk to your clients. How much do you talk to them about insurance, other than do you have it?
Yeah. Very little, but we always encourage them to have replacement cost.
Good.
Always.
Yeah.
I used to be in insurance before, so I know a little enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still remember. But yeah, the key is to have it.
For sure. I mean, yeah, the key is definitely to have it.
Yeah.
And we talk about it if it's really close in numbers for like your payment, that they don't want to exceed a certain payment, because lenders can only give like an estimated, you know, plug this in for homeowners insurance. But we're like really wanting to know, you know, you need to reach out to an insurance agent to contact them to get a quote. And then you know exactly what your, you know, homeowners insurance will be.
Yeah, I actually have a checklist. So like right when you submit an offer, I think that's number 2 or 3 on my checklist of reach out to your insurance agent, make sure it can be insured, because, you know, there's certain times where it's in a flood zone and that's just not been made aware. And then, you know, factor that into what your costs are going to be.
Yeah. And are you seeing a lot in the like over $1 million space, Liz?
Yes.
Yeah. So the high net worth carriers, especially, I'm seeing their rates go up even more than sort of the more mainstream carriers. But you get what you pay for, and those high net worth carriers definitely they have a different product. So I definitely encourage those homeowners to really look at the product that they're buying to make sure that they're getting the coverage that they need. Another thing that I've seen is people not having an umbrella policy, which is really, really important, just to cover your assets if something catastrophic happens. So always encourage an umbrella policy.
Got it.
Is that like an insurance? Sorry, is that like an insurance canned joke? Cover your assets. Do you ever kind of have fun with that? Okay, I just just trying to keep it fun here, everybody. I'm sorry. I will shut my brain off. I totally derailed everybody.
The umbrella policy is definitely a CYA.
Tracy, the other thing I run into on our end, you know, because we offer coverages on some pumps and, you know, all the systems that are in the basement. And I think a lot of people think if they have a flood in their basement that those mechanicals are going to be covered by us, which it isn't. It typically falls under the scope of their homeowner's insurance. But I think a lot of homeowners think that that's a standard part of their insurance. And I've actually educated a lot of agents and talking with buyers in the process that, you know, you need to talk to your insurance professional, but I do believe it's an additional rider.
Yes, it is. And a lot of times the water backup, it's sometimes it's excluded. Sometimes you can add it back in. Sometimes the water backup will have a separate deductible from the actual homeowner's policy. So a carrier will cover water backup, but your deductible will be different if you have a claim. So yeah, and water is the number one reason for homeowners claims across the board. So the water backup is very important, especially if they have a basement and a sump pump and no backup sump pump.
And their washer and dryer and all their mechanicals and everything is down there and they get fried out because of the water damage.
Yep.
So it's a good point.
Yeah.
So is anybody doing anything new for 2021? So that, you know, we sort of moved out of COVID and now we have this new thing. Is there any new marketing? I mean, the Zen List I thought was a good tip. But is there, you know, what are you guys doing different this year than last year? Anything?
Been doing a lot of the same things.
Even going back to, you know, I mean, even like the last couple of years, you know, we've gone back to a lot of the, not a lot, but some of the old, you know, old school stuff, you know, that we've kind of given up on over the years. I
think going into 2021, there will be way more social events. I'm sure everybody's social life has kind of been derailed a little bit,
yeah.
But with restaurants reopening, I think that'll be a huge part of our business.
And Beata, I feel like to your point, Carrie and I work with my mom, Carrie, and we for the longest time didn't do open houses until like last year or two, and that's how we're getting the sellers in, or I am really mixing up sellers. We're getting the buyers in through the door. It makes it easier for the showings for the sellers because you can just send everybody to the open house. I'm seeing a lot of the trends that when I lived in Bucktown until 2 or 3 years ago, so I worked all in the city, and I'm seeing a lot of those trends move out to the suburbs where you really have to be more intentional about how you're going to market these houses. And a lot of it is just the, you know, push to make it convenient for both the sellers and the buyers of, hey, we're full disclosure, we'll probably get multiple offers at the end of the weekend. You can come to these open houses and we'll consider them all on Sunday. I've also been, I'm not sure if you guys have been doing this, but I've been writing letters to all of my buyers and sellers who I worked with, like, you know, 5 to 7 years ago when I got started, just saying, hey, are you ready to move up? Because here's my specific clients that I have looking, and I think it could work for you.
I think that's a great thing to do, Liz, because I really feel like we all have these relationships from years ago that kind of have fallen off. So really, we've spent a lot of this year just calling people that we worked with 5 years ago or 6 years ago. They've kind of, you know, maybe didn't keep in touch with them, or they're the seller. So we're sort of marketing the same people and then getting them back on board. Are they thinking about selling? And what are they doing to prep now? If they're coming on in a year, we start helping them early and just touching base. So I'm sure that, you know, some people have heard that the market's good, get on. So then you're kind of guiding them in that direction.
When Sarah and I have any downtime, I mean, we've got, like, Liz, to your point, you know, we've been actually handwriting notes to past clients, and hope, you know, and so we've been trying to reach out in different ways, postcards and emails and notes, you know, handwritten notes, and just, you know, touching base with as many people as we can.
when I go in and see sellers, I often see them before, sometimes even before they've met a realtor. So I will, or if they have just reaching out to them. So a lot of times I'll ask or how they came to be with the realtor they're with. And you would not believe how many times I hear, well, they're the one that kept in contact with me. So, you know, they're the ones that are sending me the flyer, or they're the ones I'm getting the mail from, they're the ones I'm getting the phone call from, and they don't really have a strong connection to them other than they just stayed in touch.
Yeah, my mom always said she grew her business because she was the only person who would call back, you know, no matter the price range or things like that. And I don't mean to, you know, say everybody doesn't call people back, but I think that a lot of people, agents, when they get busy, you know, they're kind of picking and choosing. And I think it's important to not do that. And you need to make sure you treat everybody in a good way.
Staying in front of people works. Is that what you're, that's,
Yeah.
that it's true. It's top of mind awareness.
Well, staying in front of people, but not like in their faces, because I mean, I know we're supposed to be in sales, but I've always had this thing about this sales thing, you know, it's like people don't like to be sold. People don't like when we're like in their faces. I don't think. I mean, I'm like one of these where do unto others what I would like have done to me, right? So, you know, do I want somebody calling me all the time, or, you know, it's just those gentle touches that I think that I prefer rather than, you know, the hardcore stuff.
And Beata, I honestly think that people's lives change, situations change. That's so key for you guys in particular when you're staying in touch with people. Maybe they had a baby, they had a divorce, there's a death in the family, they want to downsize, they want to upgrade. I mean, those are key reasons to move and to stay in touch with those people, I think. So it's good.
Yeah, my team.
I got a note back from a client. I mean, I was a brand new agent. I mean, I've had clients come back to me like from my first and second, third years of being an agent. And so, you know, he wrote back to me, it's like, oh, we just paid off our house last year. It's like, oh, you know, it's like, we're very comfortable, you know, we're going to stay here for a while, but it's like, but you're the only one that, you know, we would call. And it's like, and that's after how many years, you know, and it's like, oh, so, but yeah, that, you know, just keep sending them those little gentle touches, as they say.
Funny. And I have a funny story, and this happened to me several months ago, because rarely do the homeowners call me unless the real estate agent gives them my name and number to, you know, whatever, answer any questions. But typically it's the real estate agent who sets up the home warranty. So I have a seller who contacts me to inquire about providing a warranty to the buyer. And I asked him, I said, well, who's your real estate agent? As I always do. And he said, you know, I don't remember. I'm like, you don't remember who your property is listed? Like it was an active listing. And he didn't know. That was a first for me, but he didn't know who, you know, it's like I had to dig and pull to find out. He's like, you know, oh yeah, they're with this some odd office or whatever. But anyway, talk about being out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind.
There's definitely a fine line though between, to what you said, there's a fine line between being in somebody's face too much and, a personal story of mine last year, there was a bad weather that moved through Glen Ellen, and we had hail damage, and almost everybody in the neighborhood was getting their roof redone. And there were so many roofers running through the neighborhood, just scouting out, knocking on doors, you know. And I received a letter in the mail 3 times, probably over the span of, I don't know, a month and a half, from a roofer. And it was just such a nice letter that when it came time for us to roof our, you know, do our house, that's who I called. And he asked me, he's like, why did you, you know, choose us? And I was like, actually, cool. I really love the letter from your wife. And anyway, yeah, we ended up, he ended up becoming one of our clients, and we insure his business, and they just had a baby. So it was a happy ending.
So you went with them because of the letter, and they weren't the ones knocking on your door every day?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just the subtle, you know, like, it was like, wow, you know, these guys, they're keeping in touch with me. And it was, just a nice communication.
I don't want to obnoxious, I guess. I can see people being frustrated if people are continually bothering you at inconvenient times.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. I would agree.
Hey, Liz, do you mind if I put you on the spot? Actually, well, I mean, she's gonna be like, well, I guess not anymore, right, Andy? I'm curious, genuinely curious, what your, you don't have to like do a screen share or anything, what your letter says, or just the bullet points of people you're saying, like your sphere, you know, people you've worked with 5, 7 years ago. Hey, might be time to upgrade. Are you looking in X area? Like, is that, do you have, you said you send something out like that, or it's just a letter that you send? I'm curious if you, would you mind like outlining it?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's more general of, hey, here's what's going on in the market. It is booming, and here are the specific buyers that I'm working with. So I think that, you know, they could be a good fit for your house if you're ready for more space.
Love it. Cool. That's kind of, so market, hey, this is what it is. It's not going to be difficult if you want to make a move. Now's the time to do it. I actually have some people I can funnel in. Is that kind of the vibe?
Yeah.
Simple. That's great.
Yeah.
Has the market
Okay,
ever
hey.
has the market ever been this way in your experience? As long as you've been a realtor, Beata, has the market ever been this crazy?
That when it was, I mean, I remember, boy, at the peak of the market like this, you know, so let's call it like from 2000, I don't know, 2 to 6, 7. I mean, there was a time where, I mean, I remember just like now, sometimes you're waiting in line to get into a house, right? And it's like you would come out of the house and you were like writing the offer in your car. It's like there was no pulling comps, you know, there was none of that. You would just write the offer, or, you know, or on the hood of your car, or you know, you would go somewhere. And yeah, it used to be like that.
Yeah.
And but of course it was a totally different scenario as to why. So we're not revisiting that today. You know, the rules are all different now.
Yeah.
You know, lenders are different, you know, buyers think differently, you know, I mean, everything is different.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're not going to revisit that. And I mean, if we did, you know, then shame on all of us. But yeah, it was a little crazy. So I've seen, you know, not that I've been, you know, a realtor that super long, but yeah, you know, kind of, you know, mediocre to, you know, good markets to super good markets. And then of course, you know, and once the crash hit, I mean, that was so catastrophic. I mean, I don't know, you know, this is like even a talking point for this, but it's like, I think maybe, especially sellers, you know, not every market has recovered. Not every market here in the Chicago area has fully recovered. And, you know, because I know what the prices were before and what they are now, and they're not the same. So, you know, and sometimes people even today are a little disappointed, but it is what it is. We still have, you know, work to go. And then, you know, I just had one client or past clients like, no, you know, I'm kind of disappointed that the prices aren't as high as I would like, you know, so we're going to stay here, you know, longer. And then I'm thinking to myself, you know what, it's such a good market. By the time you're ready, you're going to put in a new roof, a new kitchen, and this and this and this. It's like, really, is that, you know, what you want to do? I mean, that's not the discussion that we had, but if it was me and I had no kids at home, or, you know, I might be thinking about like, hey, I'm out of here. So, yeah, but the market and it's pockets, you know, and we say it's a seller's market, but yet we're still seeing price reductions, are we not?
Yeah.
You know, not every house is selling at the price that it originally listed at. So, you know, maybe some people are just a little overzealous in you know, how they're pricing them, and doesn't always work. So that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, before we're about what are we at, 5-6 minutes out? I'm gonna get a screenshot of everybody smiling real quick. So I'm gonna frame it with this: do not be like my children and smile for 1 second, then stop. So When you see me stop smiling, then you stop smiling. Okay, so we can nail this in one take. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, I think we might have a winner. Oh, we gotta do one more.
One more.
I'm not gonna say who it was.
It's probably me.
I'm not saying who it was. It rhymes with schmandy. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I think that is boom. Good, love it. Yeah, I mean, we got, like I say, we got about 5 minutes, 4 minutes. I mean, if anybody has any final thoughts or anything they want to wrap up with, I'm open to whatever. Like I say, I love these conversations because it really just digs into what's on ping ponging around in people's minds. But you know, I mean, they always go on all on different rabbit trails. So I will open the floor.
Well, I guess maybe just one point here, you know, as far as like, if we have to talk, or if we're going to chat about client expectations, I think it's on the buyer side that it's a bigger challenge to have them understand a little bit better, because sometimes you know, these buyers are getting frustrated with this market, and you know, it's like, yeah, the rates are good, but you know, they're paying a lot for, you know, maybe more than they should for these houses, and sometimes, you know, they don't want to rise to that point of paying what they need to pay for the house, and so sometimes it's a little challenging to get the real message. You know, it's like, yeah, it's not for, they expect us to, you know, to get them the best deal, let's say, the best deal, the best price, the best terms. But in a market like this, the goal is just to get the house. And, you know, sometimes they don't quite get that. And at the same time, we have to remember that they're listening to all these other people. You know, they're listening to family and friends, and then that kind of sometimes changes, you know, what their expectations might be. So that's a lot of work, more work for us.
Are you finding as well, some buyers are just getting so fed up and are just throwing the towel in after losing so many offers, saying, hey, we're just going to put it on hold for 6 months? Or
we have two
it's
so
very
far.
frustrating for them.
Yeah, we have two so far that have said, you know, we're just going to wait until next year.
Yeah, I have some
Okay.
that I have that they'll wait a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hoping that things change, but as we're seeing, the prices are going up. So if someone is overbidding 30 grand, if they wait 6 months, what is the comps going to be in the area, right? So I'm explaining to them that just because you're waiting doesn't mean it's going to save you money. And then when I talk to them on the initial buyer consult, I'm telling them what's happening in this market.
Right.
So
That's a really good point, that if buyers are waiting, the comps that they're going to be using to price homes in the next
much higher.
months,
the rates will be higher. But then, you know, then they make that decision and then they re-sign a lease and then they're kind of stuck there. Like,
I used to be a teacher. So when I was teaching, it was always about data. I worked at a charter school, so we had to really track our data. So what I actually have found really helpful in the past few months with the escalating market is presenting my buyers with data. I mean, I've had buyers who I've been working with for a year where, you know, they swung. It was a buyer's market when we started, and now it's swinging. So when I go to a showing, I present them with the data of, you know, here's where we started, here's where we are. And then to your point, Sheena, the rates, I show them, you know, rates are going up and it's going to be less affordable. Plus the house is going to be more expensive. So just keeping the open communication of like, this is the black and white, I think is very helpful for buyers right now.
I think that is a good, Sheena, Liz, dropping the hammer at the end. We'll close it out with that. I'm gonna cut the live feed in 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, we're not live anymore. Hey guys, thank you so much. That was fun. I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. You know how sometimes you're at a networking event, you're like, yeah, I gotta go, and then like 50 people come up and talk to you after, and it's 12 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later. So that's the beauty with Zoom, is you can just click a button and you're vanished. So I will send everybody's info out in case you want to connect after. You know, I think a lot of good collaboration happened. I will also send a YouTube link, and then I'll pull the actual Facebook Live link off what do you call it, off my file.